In the world of business and diplomacy, timing is everything. When two of the world's largest democracies prepare to sit at the same table, it's not just about trade, it's about vision, leverage, and the courage to shape the future before someone else writes it for you. Every handshake, every word, every pause in a conversation between leaders is a silent negotiation for tomorrow's opportunities. A trade deal is never just numbers on paper, it's about people, jobs, industries, and the balance of power in the global market. When a leader travels halfway across the world for such talks, it's a signal to the world that something significant is at stake. In moments like these, nations don't just trade goods, they trade trust, influence, and a place in history. A trade deal shapes not only economies, but the direction of global leadership. When nations come together to sign an agreement, it is not merely an exchange of goods and services. It is the creation of a new framework that decides how wealth will flow, how industries will grow, and how influence will be exercised on the world stage. The terms, conditions, and fine print of such deals often go far beyond what the public sees in headlines. They determine who controls vital resources, who gets access to cutting-edge technologies, and who has the upper hand in strategic industries. In a time when global competition is fierce and shifting every day, trade agreements can serve as a country's most powerful tool for securing its place in the hierarchy of nations. Economies may rise or fall based on how well these deals are negotiated. For some countries, a single agreement can open the door to decades of prosperity. For others, a poorly constructed deal can result in dependence, stagnation, or even economic decline. Leadership in the modern world is no longer defined by military might alone. The ability to influence markets, dictate standards, and secure supply chains is just as critical, if not more so. When two nations craft a trade deal, they are effectively deciding which industries will be prioritized and which innovations will be nurtured. This is why leaders approach such talks with teams of experts, economists, strategists, lawyers, and diplomats, all working to ensure that every clause serves their nation's long-term interests. These negotiations are a chess game played at the highest level, where every move is calculated and every concession is measured against a broader vision of national growth and stability. Global leadership is not an abstract title given by other nations, it is earned through influence, credibility, and results. A strong trade deal can enhance a nation's reputation as a reliable partner, an economic powerhouse, and a driver of innovation. It can also provide leverage in future diplomatic conversations, allowing that nation to play a leading role in setting global rules and standards. This influence does not come by chance. It is built step by step through careful diplomacy, consistent strategy, and the ability to read the changing tides of the global economy. The most influential nations are those that not only understand their current strengths, but can also anticipate future trends, positioning themselves to lead in emerging industries before others even recognize the opportunity. In today's interconnected world, the ripple effect of a trade agreement is felt far beyond the borders of the signatories. When two major economies finalize a deal, other nations must adjust their strategies in response. Supply chains shift, investment flows change direction, and competitive advantages are redefined. This means that a well-structured trade deal can indirectly shape the behavior and policies of other nations, amplifying its impact on global leadership. In some cases, the deal can become a model for other countries to follow, setting a precedent for how trade is conducted in specific sectors. This is why nations with strong negotiation skills can project their influence far beyond their immediate partners, effectively writing the rules of the game for others to play by. However, a trade deal is only as powerful as the vision behind it. Leaders who enter negotiations with a short-term mindset seeking quick wins for political gain often fail to secure the deeper, structural advantages that create lasting leadership. In contrast, those who view trade deals as part of a long-term strategy can use them to lock in benefits for decades, ensuring their nation's industries, technologies, and economic systems remain competitive well into the future. This requires not just intelligence, but patience, discipline, and the ability to see beyond immediate pressures. When history looks back at moments of great economic transformation, trade deals often stand at the center. They serve as milestones that mark the rise of new economic powers and the rebalancing of global influence. From the creation of free trade zones to groundbreaking technology sharing agreements, these deals have repeatedly proven their ability to shift the balance of power. Leaders who understand this see each negotiation as a chance not just to strengthen their own economy, but to redefine the direction of global commerce. The stakes are immense, and the rewards for getting it right are equally profound. A trade deal is not just a business transaction, it is a declaration of intent. It signals to the world how a nation plans to position itself in the next chapter of the global economy. It reveals priorities, values, and strategic ambitions. More than that, it tests the skill of a nation's leadership, their ability to align domestic needs with international opportunities, to secure concessions without alienating partners, and to turn negotiations into lasting advantages. It is in these moments, away from the public eye, that the real shape of global leadership is forged. Strategic partnerships are built on trust, timing, and mutual benefit. Trust is the foundation, because without it, no agreement, alliance, or collaboration can survive the inevitable challenges that arise over time. Trust is not built overnight, it is earned through consistent actions, reliability, and a track record of keeping promises. Nations, like individuals, remember how they have been treated in the past, and those memories shape the tone of future interactions. When trust exists between partners, difficult negotiations become easier, risks can be shared, and opportunities can be pursued with confidence. Without trust, even the most lucrative deal can collapse under the weight of suspicion and fear, as each side questions the other's intentions. For nations seeking to work together, building trust often involves years of diplomatic engagement, cultural exchanges, joint projects, and a willingness to address misunderstandings openly and respectfully. Timing is equally critical, because opportunities in the global arena are fleeting. Economic landscapes shift quickly, technologies evolve, and political climates change. A partnership that makes sense today might not be possible tomorrow. Leaders who understand timing know when to act decisively and when to wait for the right moment. This means recognizing when a partner's economy is aligned with your own goals, when global market conditions favor collaboration, and when political leadership in both nations is ready to commit. Sometimes, missing the right timing by even a few months can mean losing an advantage that will not come back for years. Strategic partnerships thrive when they are formed at a point where both parties are ready to invest resources, share knowledge, and commit to a shared vision. Teaming also ensures that the partnership begins on a strong footing, with momentum that can carry it forward through challenges. Mutual benefit is the glue that holds strategic partnerships together over the long term. If one side feels exploited or undervalued, resentment will eventually undermine the relationship. True strategic cooperation requires that both sides seek clear gains: economic growth, technological advancement, increased influence, or security assurances that outweigh any sacrifices they might make. Mutual benefit creates a sense of fairness and shared destiny, making each side more willing to compromise in areas where they might otherwise hold firm. In global trade and diplomacy, partnerships built on one-sided advantages rarely last, because the imbalance eventually leads to conflict. Leaders who understand the principle of mutual benefit seek to design agreements where each side's strengths complement the other's weaknesses, creating outcomes that would be impossible for either party to achieve alone. The interplay between trust, teaming, and mutual benefit is what transforms ordinary agreements into truly strategic partnerships. Trust allows each side to believe in the other's commitments. Teaming ensures that the partnership begins under favorable conditions, and mutual benefit keeps the relationship strong even when external pressures arise. These elements are not static; they must be maintained and adapted as circumstances change. A partnership that is strong today can falter tomorrow if trust is damaged, if timing is ignored in adapting to new realities, or if one side stops seeing the value in the arrangement. This is why the most successful leaders remain vigilant, continuously assessing the health of their partnerships and making adjustments to keep them aligned with evolving goals. In the context of global leadership, strategic partnerships have the power to reshape markets, influence global policies, and set the direction of technological innovation. Nations that cultivate strong alliances can extend their reach far beyond their borders, gaining access to resources, expertise, and markets that would otherwise remain out of reach. They can also form coalitions that amplify their voice in international forums, giving them greater leverage in shaping rules and standards. This is particularly important in an era where competition is no longer limited to geography. Technological disruption and interconnected economies mean that alliances must be flexible and forward-looking to remain effective. The long-term value of a strategic partnership often lies in the less visible benefits. Shared research projects, joint infrastructure development, coordinated security efforts, and even cultural exchange programs can deepen the connection between partners, creating a web of interdependence that strengthens the alliance. These less tangible elements of cooperation can prove decisive in moments of crisis, when formal agreements might be strained, but informal networks and personal relationships keep communication open. Leaders who invest in these dimensions of partnership understand that they are building resilience, ensuring that the relationship can weather storms without breaking apart. History is full of examples where strategic partnerships have propelled nations to new heights. Whether in trade, defense, technology, or cultural influence, partnerships that are founded on trust, seized at the right time, and designed for mutual benefit have consistently outperformed those that lack these qualities. They have allowed countries to navigate turbulent periods, expand their influence, and secure advantages that endure for generations. The skill lies in identifying the right partner, understanding the shared goals, and committing to the patience and persistence required to nurture the relationship. In a world where challenges are increasingly global, climate change, cybersecurity threats, supply chain vulnerabilities, and geopolitical tensions, no nation can stand entirely on its own. Strategic partnerships are no longer optional. They are essential tools for survival and progress. But only those built on the pillars of trust, teaming, and mutual benefit have the strength to endure and the capacity to shape the future in a meaningful way.